Vanakkam. Today, I am going to take up a very interesting and important topic with reference to the role played by recovery agents at the time of recovery of the loans. These recovery agents, at present times, they started to give lot of pressures for the loan defaulters, and these recovery agents have been appointed by the bank, who is a part of the regulated entity. What are the important things that a bank has to do, what a recovery agent has to do, what the borrowers have to do, and everything I am going to discuss. And this is my personal view. And for the detailed discussion, please refer the RBI Circular. RBI Circular, they have recently introduced a new circular about the recovery agent. And this is very, very important because based on the recovery agency circular, I have started this presentation today. Please refer the RBI Circular 65 dated 12/8/2022. There are a lot of various circulars with reference to recovery agents, but this RBI circular dated 12/8/2022 has clearly, specifically mentioned that the recovery agent should not exceed their limits, because they want, the RBI clearly said that the borrowers should be saved from the harassment. So they say that it is relevant to outsourcing jobs, and the recovery agent is one of the outsourcing. So I am going to take up the entire presentation of the recovery agent, and that too I assume that this recovery agent is being appointed by the bank. And there are so many other persons, but I have taken, for the purpose of my presentation, banks appoint the recovery agent. And here, the RBI has come out specifically one thing, because they say that the Reserve Bank of India has from time to time advised regulated entities that the ultimate responsibility for their outsourced activities rests with them, and they are responsible for the actions of their service providers, including recovery agents. So they say that the recovery agents service, the entire responsibility goes and it falls on the hands of the regulated entity. So this is very, very important. So RE is fully responsible for the actions of the recovery agent. So we'll say who are all regulated entities? All commercial banks, excluding payment banks, and the commercial banks includes local area bank, regional rural banks, small finance banks, all India financial institutions such as Exim Bank, NABARD Bank, NHB, SIDBI, and National Bank for financing infrastructure and development, and all NBFCs, which includes housing finance companies, and all primary cooperative banks, state cooperative banks, and district central cooperative banks, and asset reconstruction company. All these five are grouped and set as regulated entities by the Reserve Bank of India. This is clearly stated in the circular dated 12/8/2022. That is circular number 65 /2022-23. Please refer that circular so that you will get all the detailed information about the outsourcing person. The outsourcing person includes the recovery agent. So I am going to take up the presentation with the recovery agents alone first. And who is going to appoint recovery agent? The recovery agent is going to be appointed by the regulated entities, but subject to the terms and conditions of the regulated entities. That is, recovery agents have been appointed. And why they are appointed? Because a lot of defaulters are there at the bank. It is the bankers are left with the left with less time towards the recovery. So they want to recover the amount. So they delegate the work to another person, because this recovery agency assignment is being approved by RBI. It's being approved by RBI. The bankers, they sought this source. So RBI has clearly come out with the fair practice code that this should be done, this should not be done. But what is the role of recovery agent? Everything has to be clearly mentioned by the regulated entities at the time of appointment. So the recovery agents have been used towards the recovery of the loan from the defaulted customers on behalf of the regulated entities. This is another very important area wherein everybody has to be very, very careful. Even you, if you want, you can also become a recovery agent. What's the real benefit? The commission. The commission is being paid towards the recovery agent, to the recovery agent. When they recover the money from the defaulted customers, the commission ranges between 0.5% to 5%. So let us assume the loan recovery is 1 crore. Based on his persistent approach, the borrower has paid the amount of 1 crore. So that works out to 5 crore. That works out to 5 lakhs. This recovery, even the customers can come directly and make the payment. Even the customers may enter into one-time settlement. In one-time settlement also, they are making the payment. For that payment also, the recovery agent is eligible to get the loan. So it's a very big area wherein you can mint money like anything. But one thing you have to bear in mind, you should have a very good infrastructure. Without infrastructure, if you are moving, then the recovery agent you will be a failure. If you have been appointed as recovery agent, then you will be a failure. So the commission fixation is being done at the discretion of the regulated entities. And actually this commission, who has to pay? It is only the banks. They are paying from the money recovered from the borrower. So automatically this commission payment falls on the head of the borrower only. Okay, this is a real benefit of recovery. That's why all the recovery agents, they are working like anything towards the recovery. Now, I'll go slowly. Now you want to become a recovery agent. What is the basic conditions? You should be a proprietorship firm or partnership firm, companies or corporations. They are eligible to get the recovery agency assignment. And another eligible criteria is all the key personnel, recovery agents and promoters should comply with the following category. That is, they should be Indian citizen and are entity constituted under the Indian law. The recovery agents and enforcement agencies should have register office in India. So that means foreign companies, they are not eligible to get the assignment of recovery agent. Maximum experience is 3 years. Previously, anybody can become recovery agent. So that means because of this condition, only the existing recovery agent, they are eligible. Sometimes this condition can be or may be waived by the bankers, because if there are no takers, the bankers may waive this condition. That is, no previous experience is required. And promoters, key personal recovery agent should be, that is, they should have some educative knowledge. Say they should have +2. +2 from any university in India or abroad. So anywhere they have to qualify +2. And the recovery agent, if they have been appointed, then they should know all the RBI guidelines, and they should understand the instruction circulars issued by the RBI, IABF, and IBA from time to time. That means they have to update the banking knowledge. And that is, if they have been removed, that is, there should not, due to some disqualification, then he is not eligible to become a recovery agent. And he should not be imprisoned or at the jail due to some offense. And he should not be found guilty of misconduct in professional capacity or offense involving moral turpitude or otherwise. He should not be an undischarged insolvent. And you should have got the PAN card and GST. And you should have some very good infrastructure also. And because they should have very good professional relationship and consultant relationship, so that they can run the recovery agency in a positive manner. And this recovery agent should not be blacklisted by any bank, and they should not have any complaint against the firm before CBI, SFIC, that is a Serious Fraud Investigation Cell, court for professional misconduct. There should not be any professional misconduct. Conditions are, this is where everybody is upright, because if you make a complaint against the recovery agent or any of its employees, then he is not eligible to continue as recovery agent. He is not eligible to become a recovery agent. So no complaints pending against the recovery agent before police authorities, and also not involved in court cases, especially in the matters which are, suppose if they deviate, then if anybody makes a complaint against the recovery agent and if it is pending before the police, then this is one eligibility condition wherein he is not eligible to apply for the recovery agency, and he has to undergo training course. That is, this course is being introduced by IABF and IBA. The course name is called as Direct Recovery Agents Certification Course with 100 hours of training. Previously, there was no training. Now they've introduced this concept. They have to undergo the certificate course with 100 hours training. So this is one of the other conditions based on which a recovery agent has to be appointed. And banks reserve the right. So all the conditions have been fulfilled, but bank has the right either to accept or reject. And in case of any dispute between the recovery agent and between the bank, then the decision of the bank is final. So this is the conditions they have put at the time of taking the recovery agent. So everything has to be. Now, borrower, what the borrower first to avoid recovery. So the now recent problem is all the recovery agent now they started to call the borrowers and they started to press the borrowers to make the payment. First, as a borrower, what you have to do? Repay the loan as per the RE's terms and conditions. You first repay the loan as per the bank terms and conditions. You should not be called as defaulter. The RA, that is recovery agents, have been forced to go only against the defaulted borrowers and not against all borrowers. This point you have to bear in mind. So repay the loan as per the terms and conditions. And at least you don't repay a full loan. You have to update the loan. So you have to come out of the defaulted list, and only when the regulated entities, when they are not able to recover the loan, they endorse the work of recovery to the recovery agent. So when you repay the loan, the concept of recovery agency is not coming to the picture. So this point you have to bear in mind, because a lot of borrowers, they have not repaid the loan on time or they have defaulted in payment. So this forces the bank to go for the recovery agency towards recovery. What are the borrower's right over the recovery? So that's a recovery proceedings. What is the right of the borrower? Right of the borrower is the right to privacy. At the time of recovery, his privacy should not be affected. So suppose he may be sitting in his office, it is sitting at his home, he should not be disturbed. His entire privacy should be maintained by the regulated entities or by the agents who have been appointed by the regulated entities as recovery agent. So it's a right to the privacy and the decent behavior. So whenever a banker or a recovery agent, when they go and approach the customers, they should behave in a decent manner. There should not be any behavior which it should not hurt the borrower. So the recovery agents or the regulated entities should behave very decently to the borrower. And before moving for the recovery, the borrower should be given apt to time that, sir, within this day you have to pay, otherwise we are going for the recovery proceedings either through court or through recovery agent. So it has to be clearly mentioned in the notice. A notice should be served, because suddenly one can hear that, sir, why you are not paying the amount? So without getting any notice, if anybody called, so that is that means the regulated entities have forfeited the right of the borrower. So a notice should be sent on time. And okay, now they want to go for auction. They want to sell the property. So the properties which have been given as collateral security should be valued fairly. That is very, only the true value should be there. There should not be any undercut value. So a lot of properties have been valued at a very less rate than the market rate. It should not be there. So fair valuation should be done. Even a lot of borrowers, they approach the court, say that, sir, my property is valued about 1 crore, but the bankers, they are valued only at 30 lakhs. So thereby, they are going, because you would have lent something around 10 lakhs. For that, your property is being valued at 30 lakhs. So based on this type of cases, also a lot of cases, they are moving to the court. So a fair valuation should be there. And the process balance to be paid to the borrower. Suppose if the loan is 10 lakhs, if the property is sold for 15 lakhs, the balance 5 lakhs have to be paid to the borrower. It should not be retained by the regulated entities. So this is a right of the borrower, because when there is any recovery proceedings, these are the rights that the borrower has got over the thing. And what is the real behavior towards the recovery? Time of recovery by the recovery agent. So this history, this incidents I have taken from the from various sources. That is, the recovery agent, they used to call your friend, your relative, and do you know about the debt about your friend's loan details? And even this has been called by the recovery agent without informing you, without your knowledge. They inform the friends and relatives. Your friends and relatives say that this guy has borrowed the amount, he has not paid the amount. So this is a loan amount. Says the recovery agents, because in the application you would have said this reference details. Sometimes would have been introduced to the bank by someone, and a lot of references they will get, because they do lot of marketing so that your friends and relatives' names will be known to the recovery agent. The recovery agents, they used to call the friends and relatives. And they used to say the frequent calling. See, morning 10 o'clock you call, why you are not paid, sir? Sir, please come and pay. Then 11 o'clock you say that, sir, please come and pay. 12 o'clock you will come. So frequent calling. Not only from this recovery agent directly, from his office staff. Because he would have employed some 10 office staff. So for every 15 minutes, they used to call. So this type of frequent calling will also make you into a lot of pressure. And they send emails and text messages. And even frequent visit has been done by the recovery agent to the borrower. And sir, you have to pay the EMI. So 10 o'clock one guy will come, 10:30 one guy will come, and 11 o'clock. So they used to normally disturb the, it is not the question of disturb, they are giving a lot of mental pressure to the borrower to repay the loan. So this is another tactics they are introducing it. My suggestion here is everything has to be recorded and documented by you. So this is the only suggestion, because sometimes you may go for some legal recourse, and if they are following the RBI guidelines, okay, you are he is safe and you are also safe. And if they deviate from this, then when you have to go for the legal recourse, that we will discuss in a later part. And they threaten the borrowers and family members or relatives or borrowers. So this is where they are doing. They started to threaten, unless until you pay this, then I'll see that. Then they stop. What is the next thing? They'll say. They never say. Sometimes one guy, they used to say that, then I'll beat you. So that is the violation of the laws of the country. That is the violation of constitution, because you should not be threatened, because you have borrowed the amount. You are given the collateral property. Let them go for the recovery by way of sale of property. So all this will be there. So they threaten not only you, not only the borrower, even they threaten the family members or relatives of the borrower. So few recovery agents, they are adopting this type of thing. So another behavior is they humiliate by coming to the borrower's workplace or home without any. They come to your home, they come to your office. Sir, are you going to pay the amount? So when you are there at the office, when you are working, if any recovery agent comes to your office, then they humiliate. Sir, you have borrowed the amount, why you are not paid? So all these things they do towards the recovery. So this is another type of behavior. Another type of behavior is they insult the borrower in front of the public about his incapacity to pay the debt. You have got the money. Why you got no capacity to pay? Why you why you borrowed the money? You can't pay. So they insulted before it. Suppose in case we have given the property as collateral security, let them go and do the auction. So this is a general behavior of the recovery. So what is the remedy available? How to come out of this type of harassment? So a lot of people say that it's a kind of harassment. Now, RBI has come out specifically with the reference to this type of indirect harassment. Even they say that what the recovery agents they have to follow. Please, this is a very, very important circular dated 12/8/22. Please go through the circular. And RBI advised regulated entity from time to time about the outsourced persons, including recovery agents. That means frequent complaints have gone to RBI regarding the recovery agency. So recovery agents have been appointed by the regulated entity because they are part of regulated entity, because they are acting on behalf of the regulated entity. So RBI, when you go through the circular, they say that from time to time they are giving this information, and the full responsibility vests with RBI for all the action. Full responsibility vests with the regulated entities. It is said by RBI that all the full responsibility lies with the regulated entities, and it has been said by RBI that for all the service, all the auctions of recovery agents, the full responsibility goes to the regulated entities. Another thing is RBI observed that regulated recovery agents have been employed by regulated entities when they deviate from the instructions. So that means even RBI observed that most of the recovery agents, they deviate from the instructions given by the RBI through regulated entities. So this is another observation. You go through the circular, you can find these things. And what is the important things? RBI directed regulated entities are their recovery agents do not resort to. They should not do this. This is a specific thing that they have given in the circular. Intimidation or harassment of any kind, either verbal or physical, against any person in their debt collection efforts. Go through the circular. They specifically said this is the observation that RBI made in this circular. Intimidation and harassment of any kind. So this is a very, very important circular. Please go through it, and which includes acts intended to humiliate publicly or intrude upon the privacy of the debtor's family members, reference people, and friends. And another observation by RBI is sending inappropriate messages either on mobile or through social media. Even through the Facebook also, people, they are doing this type of thing. Sending inappropriate messages either on mobile or through social media, making threatening and anonymous calls, persistently calling the borrower. So these are the actions. So everything is being made. RBI has received the complaint like this. So they have given specific thing, that is regulated entities or their agents should not do this. And even they are disturbing the client before 8 a.m. and even after 7 p.m. That means indirectly the RBI said that there should not be any disturbance to the borrower before 8 a.m. and after 7 p.m. So between 8 a.m. and 7 p.m., the recovery agents, they can do the job, and not before that and not after that. So this is a specific thing that they are given in this circular. It's a very, what we can say, that is a very important thing that all the people should know. This is the specific direction given to the regulated entities about the action of the outsourcing person, which includes recovery agents. They should not do this. This is a specific instruction, specific guidelines. And any violation of this circular, regulated entities will be viewed seriously. So they have even given a caution or warning to the regulated entities that the recovery agent should not deviate from the above said these directions. They should not violate. If they violate, then the regulated entities are responsible fully. Any violation should not, no violation should be there. And this circular is not applicable for the microfinance loans covered under Master Directions RBI Regulatory Framework for Microfinance Loans Directions dated 14/3/2022. So this RBI directives is not applicable for the microfinance loans. It's a very, very important circular because the RBI has got the frequent complaint from the borrowers. Because they say that it's a violation because the regulated entities, they have to follow the RBI guidelines, and regulated entities have appointed recovery agents based on the RBI directives. And if the RBI recovery agents, they violated them, then our regulated entities are responsible. Now, dealing with recovery agent by the borrower. First thing, let us go in a smooth manner. Let us go in a first thing, how to behave. The borrowers, in which manner they have to behave. First thing, they have to explain the real situation, because recovery agents are the real agents. They are acting on behalf of the regulated entities. Let us take it as a bank. So you should know what is my situation, why I have not paid the amount. You have to explain the recovery agents very politely and calmly, and you have to explain the situation. And most of the recovery agents, they will definitely help the borrower to settle the issue, because everything, even there, they are getting commission based on the recovery. Say they started to help the borrower to make towards the repayment. I said that not all recovery agents, most of the recovery agents, they started to help the borrower towards the recovery. But it is not in all situations. It is not in all situations. That is, few people, they are doing the harassment, which the RBI has stated in its circular. And when what the borrower has to do in harassment, suppose the RBI circular said that there should not be harassment, but you are facing some harassment. What the borrowers, they have to do? First thing, whatever be the thing, he has to record the calls, because if anybody threatens you, you have to record the calls. Even nowadays, all people, they started to record all the calls and emails and text messages. All this should be termed as a document. Because if they violate any laws of the country, if the recovery agent has violated any laws of the country, then these documents have to be produced either to RBI or to the police or to the court. So you should record all calls, emails, text messages is only my suggestion, and they should be kept on record. Next one is, you have to contact the lawyer. You should have a very good lawyer, and please contact the lawyer and explain the actual position, because you should not, suppose if anybody gives harassment, your personal life is being affected. So you please contact the lawyer. Because if they violate the 12/8/2022 circular, as a customer, as a borrower, you can make a complaint to the regulated entities as well as even to the RBI also, if the terms and conditions violated. So don't hesitate to address the situation. So immediately whenever problem arises, be sure and please record everything. Please record everything. Please have the document. But you have to bear in mind that you have to repay the loan. So going case against the banks, going case against the recovery agent, that's a different issue. But your intention is you have to repay the loan. That point you have to bear in mind. And contact the regulated entities and pay the dues as per the terms and conditions. Suppose in case if they are giving a lot of pressure, then when you are not able to do it, then at least start to repay the loan. And I have defined legal remedies in two ways. One is general legal remedy and specific legal remedy. One is, you can file a complaint to RBI that this recovery agent is doing this type of this. He is behaving like this, so he has violated the RBI circular. You can make a complaint to RBI. That is also. But second thing, you have to approach the situation through your advocate, because advocate can also issue the legal notice. That is all, because a lot of people, they are they are following, they are getting the benefit out of this approaching the advocate to stop harassment, because they are entitled to go to any court. So you have to approach the case through the advocate and file a civil suit against the regulated entities and recovery agent if they have broken any laws of the country, because you are there to pay the loan. But when they threaten, then that is in another country. That is, they have violated your constitutional rights. So if they have broken any laws of the country, you can file a civil law suit against the regulated entities and recovery agents. All this, most of the borrowers, they are going with this type of legal remedies. Now I am going for the specific. What are the specific legal remedies? One fellow has gone for police complaint. Sir, he has threatened not only me, he threatened my wife, my father, because I have borrowed the money, but so he has threatened everyone. So there is one thing in the recovery agency appointment that if there is any police complaint pending, then they are not eligible to act as recovery. So police complaint can be made against the regulated entities and RA about the harassment, but you have to prove with the evidence. People, they have gone for police complaint. All this is a practical cases. All this I have prepared based on the practical cases against this type of recovery agents behavior. And not, I want to say that not all the recovery agents, they are doing this type of thing. Only few, they are doing it. But people, they have gone for police complaint and they made a complaint to regulated entities, because regulated entities are banks. Banks are also part of regulated entities. The borrowers say that, no, sir, this agent is doing this type of behavior and he has violated RBI norms. So they made a complaint to regulated entities, and few customers, few borrowers, they have filed a case before court. Say they file injection suit, they file defamation suit, they file trespassing suit. But for everything, you should have evidence. For everything, you should have evidence. And my sincere request, so this is only a presentation, but my sincere request to the borrower, please repay the loan as per the terms and conditions. If you repay the loan, nothing will be there. Nothing will be there. You have no problem. Now, how to settle this harassment legally? Pay all the dues as per the terms and conditions. So no harassment will come. And go for one-time settlement. You can go to the bank and you can make a one-time settlement. Say that, sir, I want to pay the amount. Say I borrowed something around 25 lakhs. I want to settle the amount at 15 lakhs, but subject to terms and conditions of the bank. So you have to go for the one-time settlement. And in case if your right is being affected and if they violated any laws of the country, then you can file the case before civil court. That is also permitted. And most of the people, that is few people, they say that, sir, I'm not getting any income, even I'm not having any property. In case of company, they file insolvency petition before NCLT. And for others, they are filing insolvency petition before debt recovery tribunal and for other courts also. So this is a way in which you can handle the harassment. And the harassment will not be there, because the word that is RBI has come out specifically that you should not do this, because they use the word harassment. The RBI say that the harassment by the outsourcing. So it should not be there, because all the borrowers should be honest. If my contention is they repay the loan, that means they are very good. If they are not repaid, then they are doing this. So my sincere request to you is, please repay the loan on time-bound manner or as per the terms and conditions stated in the loan sanction letter. So the RBI circular dated 12/8/2022 is playing a very important role with reference to the recovery agency. All this expression views stated here is my personal view, and for your any reference, please go to the RBI circular dated 12/8/2022. Thank you very much for the patient hearing and watching this presentation. Nandri, Vanakkam.